Goody, we'll start with the big news, obviously, with the Socceroos. Did you watch the game, and what did you think of the last two matches?
Yeah, absolutely. I was up early morning to support the boys and watch the games, and I think probably over the last two games, not the prettiest football at times, but at this stage it's about the results and getting the job done, and being able to beat both Japan and Saudi away and qualify directly is an amazing achievement. At the start, I remember at the start of this second or third phase of qualifying, people were saying it's the group of death, and after the start we had, it wasn't necessarily the best start. So to be, as a group, in this position to qualify directly is a great feeling, and I'm sure they thoroughly enjoyed after the Saudi game.
How was it watching on? And after that, can you tell us a little bit about your injury and what's required there?
Yeah, so obviously somewhat disappointing to not be there, not be able to be involved and watching a game, but also, I'm a football fan, I'm an Australian fan, and wanted the team to win and to be at the World Cup. And now mentally I've got that focus. It's 2026 World Cup, and to try and get myself there. The injury I have is a neuroma, so it's an inflamed nerve in my left foot that I've been managing for the last 3 or 4 years, and the cortisones are no longer working, so I need to remove the lump, and it's a 6-week recovery.
How much motivation is it now to get to that next World Cup? I think you'll be 34. Did you speak to Popper about coming back to the A-League? Does that play any sort of role in trying to get to another World Cup?
No, I didn't have too many conversations with him in terms of that, but he's made it very clear to any player. It's about playing regularly and playing your best football. So, I think he's shown by picking multiple A-League players that it doesn't matter whether you're playing here or playing abroad. And in the past, I made the last World Cup playing for Adelaide, and obviously had a really good World Cup there, and a lot of my best football has come at Adelaide United. So I look forward to the challenge. I look forward to the mental battle and mental focus. And I know, as always, that international football doesn't come unless you're playing well at club level.
You've had a bit of time for it to bed in now, but how is it being back home and back in your familiar surroundings?
Yeah, really nice. Obviously, settle in quite quickly. A bit of moving around to do in terms of moving into the house and setting everything back up. But yeah, it's the strange feeling of when you've been away and you come back, you just kind of feel like you never left, sort of thing. So it's really exciting to be back, and I can't wait to come into pre-season most of all, and obviously meet up with the boys.
How connected have you stayed to Adelaide United in those couple of years you were away?
Yeah, well, obviously I'm from Adelaide, big fan of Adelaide United as well. So we've got a lot of friends in the group, message and stay in contact with them regularly, and watch 95% of the games when I was able to watch them.
We know that Adelaide, we're not known for having a big budget, but you've chosen to come back. I'm sure you had the pick of other clubs. Were there other clubs that were after you? Was it hard to turn down interest elsewhere when you knew Adelaide was here?
Yeah, look, there was always other options. There was options to, stay in Saudi as well. And for me, it was a little bit of the decision of, okay, I'm 33. I don't see myself retiring anytime soon, but I know that in terms of playing football and going forward, I want to be where I have the most passion for, and I feel that's going to bring also the best out of my football. I had a great 2 years in Saudi, a great experience playing against some of the best players in the world, and had two really good seasons there individually, and that translated into national team call-ups and being consistent on the national stage. But yeah, like I said, going forward, it's about being where I feel the most passion for, and I believe that's going to get the most out of my football going forward.
I assume you've had a look at Adelaide's squad. There's obviously a need for the club to sign defenders before the season gets underway.
Yeah, look, obviously defensively, as has been the last few years, has been the issue in terms of conceding goals. I think if you look at the season last year, kind of in two halves, halfway through the year, you're really thinking that this is this is a team that can win it, and this is a team that compete. And defensively, we're okay. But then as they started to fall off a little bit last year, I think yes, there is the need to strengthen the squad in those areas. But I think the biggest thing that can be adjusted is the mentality of the group, to really have that belief and that ruthlessness, that they are good enough to win it, that they are good enough to stay consistently at that level. We've shown, even when I was here previously, good consistency, but never that length to be able to win the championship. So, I think we have it, but for me, coming in this time around, it's really about trying to help bring that change in mentality and that real belief, because the players that are there now are good enough as well. Like I said, halfway through the year, you're looking at this team's, a sensational team. What a great job they've done with the signings and everything like that. So, I think the strength is there. There does need to be some improvement put into the squad, but for me, the mentality is the biggest thing.
You've been gone for a few years now, and the news when it came through that you did leave the Reds, Airton Andrioli lifted a trophy the same day with the NPL side. Now you come in as one of his first signings. How do you feel being a part of the squad, and how closely have you been keeping track of those players who are now, majority of those players are now in the A-League squad? Yeah,
really excited. Really excited to obviously get in with the team. Obviously work with Airton, who I've known for a number of years, who coached me even back when I was about 13, 14 years old in Curver Academy as well. So he's done a great job with the youth team. He knows a lot of the boys. So it's an exciting time in this new phase to be able to obviously link up with those younger players, try and help them bring the best out of their performance. And like I said, my main focus will be on the mentality side.
Just on the coaching situation, when you initially started your negotiations to come back, was Carl the coach, and were you aware at the time that he wasn't going to be next season?
At the time, yes, Carl was the coach. I've had a great working relationship with Carl, and am grateful for everything that he's done in terms of my career, and I believe that he helped bring my game to another level when I came back to Adelaide, and he was the coach. But as happens in football, a change of coaches happened, and again, it's I guess a little bit of a fresh start, not necessarily a full reset, but transition phase in trying to, I guess, go to that next level, develop those young players, and like I said, really try and improve that mentality to believe that we're winners and we can win something, because I believe that the group has the quality to do it.
With a new coach, particularly one that's a first time senior coach in the A-League, how important will your leadership be, especially given this has obviously sort of stepped away from playing?
Yeah, I think similar to obviously when Carl came in his first time as senior coach in the A-League, the same with Airton, and as it was back then, it relies a lot on the leadership of the playing group, as does any team, and as does any team that wants to win something. And I'm here to win something with the Reds, and that's what I want. And my leadership will be there for the group and for the players as much as I possibly can.
We're going to have a C Goodwin and an A Goodwin on the back of the shirt. How's that going to work?
We'll see what we discuss. I might tell him he has to get an A next to it and see what we do. But no, I'm really looking forward to linking up with Archie, and hopefully I can set him up for a number of goals and improve his number this year to be the outright Golden Boot winner. And looking forward to that partnership.
Bit of a left field one, but one of the things that I think made you a club legend, as well as your ability on the pitch, was the way you spoke about the issues that footballers face. In the past couple of weeks after the grand final, there was the way that certain things were reported, the way the fans behaved, certain media outlets. Just wondering if you think, how much do we still have to go in terms of making sure that football is treated the way that it should be by certain elements of the media?
Yeah, look, it's a very interesting question for me. It's one that, football in Australia is not the first sport, but there is a growing capacity in terms of juniors. Lots of representation. It's the biggest sport, and it's growing to be potentially the biggest sport in the country. And hopefully, over the next 5, 10, 15 years, it does get that respect that it deserves from perhaps the other codes. And I think us as players want to have a particular atmosphere and know that the atmosphere is very unique. But at the same time, we don't condone people that cross that line. So it's about finding the balance and having that unique and great atmosphere and finding out how it can flourish, and working with, I guess, the entities that can, kind of work with that and push it in that direction.